Sports Beat along for the ride wherever you're headed on this Wednesday, August 14th. Hopefully we can get you past the midday point of the week. Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on tap. And we are coming to you live from Bill Armstrong Stadium here in Bloomington. We have moved the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios a bit north. And looking forward to broadcasting today. Coach Todd Yeagley, the men's soccer coach, should be with us. Also, Aaron Van Bennekom, the women's soccer coach, as the women's team takes on Northwestern today here in Bloomington. So what a beautiful day I'm looking outside. Man, this is nice to not be stuck in the studio and looking out through this beautiful glass window with nothing but clear blue skies. You know, they're doing a complete renovation of Bill Armstrong Stadium that they've already replaced the playing surface, and it looks immaculate right now. The bleachers that I'm staring at across the way will be gone in about a month. I was asking about that earlier, talking to the media relations person, Caitlin from IU, and they're going to tear those visiting side bleachers down where the locker rooms are and redo the entire locker rooms. I'm looking at it, a couple trailers that the men and women are going to have to be using for the next year, because this won't be finished until next season. But man, it will then have a stadium befitting an 8-time national champion like the Indiana Hoosiers and Todd Yeagley. Lots going on the program today. As I said, both coaches from the soccer programs. But yesterday we had the opportunity to talk to all three football candidates quarterback candidates for Indiana's football program, and the offensive coordinator, Kalen DeBoer. So plenty going on there, and lots to get to on the football field. If you've been keeping up, follow me on Twitter. I've been doing the 10-point must system on the quarterbacks on the days that we get to see them now. And if you're following it, that's a little skewed because the last 4 practices or so, there was a scrimmage that they had that ended up being opened, but we didn't get to see it. And so a lot went on there, but we didn't get to see that. And then yesterday's practice, they were instituting a lot of new plays. So it created not exactly the most stellar looking practice, but that was because at the time we didn't realize that's what was going on. And there were passes being thrown away, and the personnel was different. Apparently the offense that they were putting in did not go well with IU's defense yesterday, but that it kind of gave them an advantage, it seems like. But so Peyton Ramsey, he wins yesterday, so he gets the 10 points. And he actually, the previous practice came down to a tie between him and Michael Penix. So I gave him the win there because he was the incumbent. So it's skewed a little bit, but because he's taken just a slight lead, I think total points 56, 54, 52. Michael Penix and Jack Tuttle following in that order. I still think that I think they're going to name a quarterback by Monday, personally. I think that this week is going to be the week that they get that worked out, because they need to go into that final week with the guy in place. And I still think that ultimately Michael Penix will win that job, because he just has that little extra something that the offense didn't have last year, and that is the ability to go downfield. And perfect example, we were inside for 2 practices ago, and he threw a pass that was about 45, 50 yards in the air that was just as beautiful as you could want. But it gives this offense just an extra dynamic. And I think they're going to be pretty dynamic this year as it is, with Kalen DeBoer really tweaking this offense. He's adding some wrinkles, but I think you're going to see a better looking offense, a tighter offense. And but it's going to be pretty exciting. But a lot coming up. And then on the basketball side, of course, not a lot of new news. We are waiting for the assistant coach to be named and see who that's going to be. Indiana's, I tell you, man, there has been no leaks. I've gotten nothing. I have not gotten a name. Not any different than I was told a month ago. So that thing has been kept under wraps pretty well. I know that there's no need for urgency because of the recruiting schedule, but from an optics standpoint and from a coaching standpoint, I disagree. I think that there is that you want to get the guy in place. I mean, it's been a month that they haven't had that guy. I just think that that's kind of a long time for a program like Indiana. And the thing you keep getting told is when you ask some certain people is, well, they don't need to be in a rush. Really? Why? Why don't they want to get the guy in there to start gelling with the players? I mean, from a recruiting standpoint, they're not done recruiting. They've got 2 more open spots. But, it's not from the recruiting for this year's standpoint, but it just my question is, it's not that about being in a hurry, but after a month, if you don't have your guy, or are they waiting on something? There's got to be a reason that after a month you haven't hired a coach. There has to be a reason other than not having to be in a hurry. Well, usually they have who they want, at least eyeballed right from the start, and you kind of whittle it down. I haven't seen that, so just some questions there that I'd like to look forward to finding out the answer to. But of course, like I said, who knows? That could pop at any time, at absolute any time. That could go. So, but we'll find out. Hey, also on the program today, we get to hear a reboot of our old buddy Chronic Hoosier, who's back. He's back. I meant to tell Jake yesterday for his walk-up music to play Slim Shady. Look who's back. 87 days to tip-off. Text into the show from Tim. 87 days. Well, now, see, that doesn't sound so close now, at least. Basketball Media Day up in Chicago for the Big Ten, I think, is October 2nd. So 87 days away. Well, that's over two months, so not quite 2.5 months. But so I'm everyone to be counting those days. We'll be able to get into football pretty good and solid by then, and hopefully the Hoosiers will be having a good season, which is I expect that to be the case. It's been fun watching these guys progress on the football field, but it's going to be a lot more fun when we know who the quarterback is. And feel free to hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Hope you guys are having a great day. Like to shout out WBRO in Southern Indiana down there in Milltown, picking us up. Looking forward to being along with you guys. Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on the track. We're at a beautiful day here at Bill Armstrong Stadium, coming to you with the press box of Jerry Yeagley Fields. I look out onto that newly manicured playing surface that has been installed. It looks absolutely beautiful, but not a cloud in the sky, man. I see a plane streaking across, and that's about it. But, man, it looks beautiful. The American flag is just whipping in the wind. What a beautiful day. We're here from Jerry Yeagley Field at Bill Armstrong Stadium. Hope you're enjoying us. So we got a lot coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. The Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios have been moved north. I'm glad those studios are mobile because we move it a lot. But we'll be back with more on Indiana Sports Beat right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Ryan Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
All my friends know the low rider. The low rider is a little higher.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. And on the program today, man, you know him, you love him. We cannot do without him. We have for the summer break, but he's back. Chronic Hoosier. Chronic, how are you, man?
I'm just, knocking the dust off, shaking out the cobwebs. It's good to be back. It's good to be back talking about sports again, as opposed to workouts and conditioning and all that off-season fun.
You know him as a co-host of Mind Your Banners, as well as he joins us each and every week during the season. Fortunate to have you back. It's football season, man. I cannot believe we're 2 weeks away from September, Chronic. I mean, the summer has just flown by, man.
It has. Tell me about it. I've reached the point of parenthood, though, where I'm kind of glad there's a little piece of me inside, and I love summer as much as anybody. It's probably the only season that keeps me still in Bloomington all these years later, because there's nothing better than a B-Town summer. But I've reached the point where it is kind of nice, too, to get the kids taken care of, at least Monday through Friday. We're on a set schedule again. We're not we had to create spreadsheets and reminders so that we know which camp at what time and who was picking up where, and happy to get back into a groove, happy to get back into the rhythm of fall sports back in Bloomington. Students' early move-ins next Monday, so it's staring us right down in the eye at this point.
What's the funnest thing you got to do this summer, you and the kids?
We've had a pretty action-packed summer. I would have to say we've done some big trips. We've taken a couple of vacations. Honestly, it's been those little unplanned moments, because that's probably been the one thing that we've just had so little of. It's just kind of impromptu time. And I always felt like that was the greatest part of summer, was being able to, have the best time ever, but completely unscripted. So, I don't know. We picked up some kayaks, some additional boats we added to our fleet. And we've got to do quite a bit of time on the water this summer with everybody, navigating their own craft and kind of going their own direction. And that's been really fun. That's one of the things that I absolutely love about this area that's kept my wife and I here for so many years now, is all the outdoor opportunities available. So to get them on that level, it's nice to have some additional young captains in the house.
Absolutely, sounds like a blast as well. Well, we got the football season is almost upon us. The Hoosiers kick off August 31st against Ball State up at Lucas Oil Stadium. Should be fun in and of itself, but football season's here. That's the big thing, and I can't wait. On top of the fact, I'm bullish on his team, man. I'm loving what Tom Allen and that staff is doing. They got a lot of talent, and I think they have a shot to really turn the corner this season. Of course, a lot of people will say, oh, they always say that. I think it's the truth, man. He has done a phenomenal job adding talent and depth to this team, and he's doing it from the bottom up. He's not doing a rush job. He's not bringing in a bunch of JUCO guys. He's really working it from the bottom up.
No, he has done much of what Archie Miller said he was going to do when he first took over. He's really worked, the inside-out philosophy effectively on the recruiting standpoint. At the same time, he's proven to be highly effective in other regions, particularly obviously Florida, where he came to Indiana from. But I think you're spot on. I think when you look at forever what's plagued Indiana, there's always the question of talent, depth of talent, compared to some of the powerhouse programs particularly in the Big Ten East. And to be able to stack, the highest ranked classes in program history from a recruiting standpoint in back-to-back years, I tend to agree. It is exciting. I do feel bullish myself on the Hoosiers. It's going to be a young team, but they're going to have a lot of young experience. I think you're going to start to see that depth of experience. We talked a little bit about this before we went live, but to be able to have second string guys where you don't have that big of a drop off as you go down the depth chart. You look at the defensive secondary. I think it's going to be one of the best we've seen in a long, long time. Skill position on offense is pretty stacked all the way across the line. Probably the most important position on the offensive side. You've got a depth of some pretty talented quarterbacks at their disposal right now. So those guys are kind of locked into a pretty epic battle by most accounts as far as who's going to emerge as QB1 at the end of camp. And guys that are proven to be capable in a number of different ways. So I think all that bodes really well for Indiana, both this season as well as going forward. I do have some questions about defensive line. I think is going to be really important. I mean, let's face it, the game of football is won and lost in the trenches, but it's probably at a higher level even when you look at the talent that they have to compete against in the Big Ten East and just some of the pro players they line up against every single Saturday, going across the board at the Michigan, the Penn State, the Ohio States, Michigan States for that matter. So really being able to continue to grow and develop not just the size and the strength, but the depth, so that a strain here or an injury there doesn't just derail what the offense is doing and really limit the playbook as far as what they're going to be able to run. I'm real curious to see just how both sides shape up at the line. I'm real curious to see who ends up being the starting quarterback and exactly how secure that position is. But more than anything, man, I'm just ready to play some dang football again. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you hit it right on the nail on the head with the D line. To me, that's going to be either the Achilles heel of this team, or it's going to be the one that surprises us. But they're pretty talented at secondary, and on the offensive side, my gosh, the talent is crazy. Well, you started at quarterback. That's truly a quarterback race. I mean, if people don't believe that, they're not being honest. I promise you. I've been out there to every practice that we're able to go to, and I promise you, those coaches don't know who that guy's going to be just yet. I will say this. I think there's been some separation between Michael Penix and Peyton Ramsey, between him and Tuttle, and that's only because Tuttle is the newest in the fold. He's still learning this offense. He's still learning things. He's only been here a few months. So that is the only difference between him and the rest. But the other two, man, they're in a daggone duel of a battle, back and forth. I've been doing a 10-point must system grading every day, and they've been tied here of late. As a matter of fact, after the latest grading, they are tied. So it's going to be a battle. But in talking to Coach Allen yesterday, he talked about them wanting to get that done as soon as they can, but there's still not been that separation. But hopefully they will be soon. And then you look at the running backs room, Chronic. What crazy talent is in that room, man. Stevie Scott and Ronnie Walker and Cole Guest back, who looks faster than he did before his knee injury. So, man, they have a ton of talent on that offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's certainly, depending on how what kind of tweaks we see in the play calling, really looking forward to an increase in explosiveness. on the offensive side of the ball, going for some bigger passes, going for some bigger runs, really opening the field up. Not necessarily being risky necessarily, but maybe being a little more aggressive, a little more assertive in moving the football. But it seems, at least on paper, it seems at least from what we've seen in some of the summer highlights, they're going to have plenty enough talent where they should at least be able to, from an athletic standpoint, elevate the explosive potential of this offense. And hopefully, at the end of the day, they've just got to find a way to get it into the end zone, because, even under the prior coordinator, DeBoer, this team could move the ball fairly efficiently. It was just a matter of getting the thing into the house. So, need to see an increase in both the aggressiveness, maybe some of the big plays that don't necessarily start inside the red zone that can find their way to the end zone. But more than anything, too, when they do get into the red zone, they got to start to convert on it. So many of those games, when you look at the difference between a 5-7 Indiana season and a 7-5, you don't really need to look a whole lot further than a couple of turnovers here and there. And then, at least in Indiana's case, it's usually red zone efficiency seems to be the biggest thing that's going to keep them from, finding success in some of those situations.
Absolutely. There was that red zone, you could say that cost them getting to a bowl game last year. Their inability to score touchdowns as opportunity would arise instead of getting field goals. But hopefully they have got that taken care of. But another big change coming up at Memorial Stadium this fall is, Chronic, you can drink a beer and gamble on a game while watching IU play football. How crazy is that going to be?
Served to you by the fine brewers at Upland Brewery.
Exactly.
It's pretty much a dream scenario, I think, for most people who've been spending years there. If you've ever smuggled any cans in there, heaven forbid you brought a flask in there. And Lord knows plenty enough people have gone out at halftime to go have a libation and never returned. So, absolutely, it's a huge step forward for Indiana athletics. I have a feeling, at least I hope, I sincerely hope that everybody's able to manage that newfound freedom responsibly. But honestly, I don't know that it's really a whole lot. It's going to be too terribly different, other than you're going to leave with your wallet considerably lighter. I'm excited to see, or anxious rather, to see what pricing looks like. But at the end of the day, man, I just got back from Alpine Valley a couple of weeks ago. I will absolutely pay $17 for a 24-ounce spotted cow. You can charge me $12 for an Upland at Memorial, and I'm not even going to bat an eye. So I'm ready for it. It's a new day for Indiana football.
I think the price is going to be like $8-9. So save a few bucks there, Chronic.
No, I mean, like I said, I'm all for it. But at the end of the day, if it's good beer, because I will absolutely pay, a premium for good beer as opposed to, a Bud Light or what have you. So be it. If it keeps me from having to go out to my car to enjoy, something a little hoppy, I am absolutely here for it. Just the fact that fans are going to have that option now, to eliminate the excuse as to why you had to leave the game. You look at all the changes I'd love to see in Indiana football. I just want this season, give me an underdog scenario at home that's up in the air as far as how the game's going to wrap up in the fourth quarter, and let me hear a mostly full Memorial Stadium cheering that team to victory, because it's been a while since we found ourselves in that spot. Really hoping they can capitalize, especially early on in seizing and maintaining the fan support, that excitement that every season brings with it. That's one thing I like about this schedule, honestly, quite a bit, is it gives Indiana a chance in some of those games that were probably going to be predicted to be, pretty sizable underdogs. You don't have so many of them stacking up in a row where you go through in October that can completely suck the wind out of everybody's sails as far as the momentum. The schedule gives a lot of opportunities for bounce-back games in between. And I think that's going to be imperative. I think this schedule absolutely shapes up where bowl eligibility is very much in the cards, more likely than not, I would imagine. And even the possibility for, maybe a game or so beyond bowl eligibility. I don't think that's unreasonable as you look at some of the matchups, as how some of these teams are projecting as the season draws near us, and you're seeing some of these models get a little bit more accurate as you see depth charts emerging and rosters being finalized, ready for the game. So I like it. I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, man, more than anything, I can't wait to see the guys take the field. I can't wait to feel the energy in the stadium again. I just can't wait to be back.
Yeah, I've got them. I've gone on and said I see them at 7-5 on this season, and that's before they get to a bowl game. And I think that they could possibly win their first bowl game since the Copper Bowl in '91. I just think this team has that capability to do that. And with the new offensive coordinator, Kalen DeBoer, who has done nothing but add points to every program he went to in the first year he went there. I mean, he adds like 10 to 15 points a game to every program he went to in his first season. So you can't hope or guarantee that that's going to happen. But I just think that with the talent being a little bit better this year and then him coming along with the play calling and his tweaks that he's making to the offense, I think it is a definite possibility this team easily goes 7-5 and hits their first bowl win since '91. I'm bullish, man. I'm bullish, Chronic.
I am, and I'll say one thing too. I'm looking forward to seeing the defense bounce back a little bit because Tom Allen's career has had a pretty sharp and ascending curve to it as far as his defenses and their efficiencies. The more time he spends with the program. So after having a little bit of a setback last season, looking forward to seeing those guys reloading and really getting after the ball again, creating turnovers and getting some punts out on the field, get the offense back out there. So I agree. I tend to be bullish. At the end of the day, though. It's not an unfamiliar feeling to be wildly optimistic as an Indiana football fan and, in August, but really hoping that bears out. Like I said, I think the schedule shapes up. I think the rosters, it just a lot of promise right now until proven otherwise.
Yeah, Tom Brew likes to say that everybody's undefeated in August.
Oh, every Indiana team's undefeated with everybody else.
On the basketball side, man, a lot of positive things been going on. Archie talked about recruiting inside and out, and, man, he's getting that job done here with the recent commitments of Anthony Leal of Bloomington South, and before that, Trey Galloway from Culver. Two very nice pieces to add, and as a matter of fact, two very glue pieces, I call them, because these guys are going to be around for 4 years, and they're solid kids. They're good students, they're good citizens, but they're pretty damn good basketball players, too.
No, absolutely. And, one thing that I've said this several times, you and I were saying it before, I see a lot of parallels right now between the football and the basketball program as far as, both coaches in year 3 here at Indiana, both coaches well on their way, at least now, to having a roster that's primarily their guys for the first time since they've been here. I think last time we spoke, you and I were talking this spring about, just how challenging it was having fallen short of the postseason last year. That momentum that a new coach often enjoys, that he's able to carry on the recruiting trail when maybe the record doesn't necessarily reflect what he's trying to build, and how difficult that can be to overcome once you lose that. And not only does the program get two really strong in-state guards in Galloway and Leal, you get a continuance of that momentum, or at least the absence of a pretty significant setback as far as the recruiting successes go. And I think he continues to show that he's been very strategic in how he recruits, how he offers, and he's been very efficient in how he gets a return on the efforts they put in on the recruiting trail. You look at the guys he's gone after, he lands far more than he seems to lose. So that's certainly something that's promising. Certainly gives some confidence and assurance that whatever message he's given these guys when he's meeting them in the gym, doing the shoot arounds, doing the in-home visits, it resonates with them because they continue to come, despite the lack of postseason presence. They come despite the lack of a lot of the fan rumblings that he'll never get another guy after Romeo Langford doesn't even make the tournament. Well, he just proceeded to lock up 2 more Indiana All-Stars. He's got 2 guys who are both going to be in contention for Indiana Mr. Basketball again, which would make it a 3rd year in a row, unprecedented for Indiana basketball in spite of all the Mr. Basketballs they've landed, to have 3 consecutive matriculate to Bloomington. So I likewise feel really bullish. I'm still a little bit leery, having not heard Jerome Hunter being completely cleared for contact. I know the medical staff continues to evaluate. I know he's doing a lot of stuff, but he's just not quite at the full contact clearance yet. So I remain kind of anxious to see the outcome of that. I imagine it's probably not too terribly long or far away, seeing as practice begins in 6 weeks now. And practice will officially be underway, Hoosier Hysteria, shortly thereafter. So probably get an update there. I think the biggest thing right now, honestly, though, in addition to, the additions to the roster and and Galloway and Leal, is the absence of any major losses, any major injuries, no program defections of note, aside from Clifton Moore. But additionally, another off season where, knock on wood, since it's not officially over yet, I guess the guys are home, but he returns a full and healthy roster. So that's always a good sign, considering, just how important everybody he has coming back are going to be to both what they're trying to build, but as well as where I think this team's potential could be. Because I remain pretty bullish on what the basketball team's going to look like next year as well.
My only question is in regards to the assistant coach that they're waiting to hire, and I know that there's no reason to be in a big rush, but that's not what concerns me so much. Is if you have your guy, why not just go ahead and hire him? So I'm not sure if they've got the guy they want yet or where that is, but it's getting to that point to where you're kind of starting to wonder, because it's been a minute, man. I don't know if it's been quite a month yet, but it's certainly heading in that direction.
No, and that was certainly something that raised my eyebrow when it happened. I thought the timing of it was less than ideal right before an open recruiting period began. I will give Archie credit, because both in the search as well as in the separation, they've kept about as tight a lid on it as far as information coming out of Cook Hall as any administration or staff that I can remember. The only thing that I can estimate from what's going on, that given what I know about Archie and what we've seen demonstrably, I would imagine he's probably approaching that search just like he does any other recruiting, and he's probably pretty strategic as far as who he's looking to find, what he's looking for them to bring, and how he's going to go about making it happen. So I'll trust in that until proven otherwise. But kind of like the situation with Hunter, I would expect that probably should be resolving itself sooner than later, if I had to guess.
I agree with you, brother. And there's just a ton of great things coming up for the Indiana Hoosiers, I think. I think it's going to be a really good year. You've got the men's soccer program. They're coming out ranked number 2. You've got a new women's soccer coach, and a new wrestling coach who's your IU's All-American, and a new volleyball coach in Steve Aird, who is just setting things on fire. And look out, Indiana could become a volleyball power within a few years. It would not surprise me. I've been around him quite a bit over there at Wilkinson Hall, the new home there, and man, they got stuff going on.
I'll tell you what, you look at that building particularly, and what those two coaches and Escobedo and Aird are trying to do with their programs. And if you spend any amount of time with either of those guys, you have no reason to doubt that they are 100% going to, achieve what they're trying to build here. They both bring so much passion, so much energy, just great tacticians, but more than anything, just phenomenal people. And I have a feeling that could be one of the more rocking facilities on campus here in really short order. Really excited to getting up there and getting a chance to see them in a full season in a brand new home, right there on the athletic complex on the southeast corner of the athletic block there. I just think it's a great addition to campus. Glad to get them both back on campus as opposed to being out at the bypass. And I really hope that students and fans alike get to take the opportunity to go enjoy the air conditioning, which we didn't have in University Gym, but also support two programs who I imagine are going to be pretty fun to watch for some time to come.
Yeah, and the volleyball program's got this crazy connection to basketball. You've got Jeff Oliphant's daughter on this team this year. You've got Brian Sloan's daughter on this team this year. Evan Fitzner's sister is on this team. There's a kid whose dad played with the Fab Five at Michigan. There's something else that is slipping my mind. And then Indiana's only All-American was Kent Benson's daughter. So the basketball connection to the volleyball program is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's, kind of like basketball, though. It's a game of height. You got to find some girls that can get up above the net. That's where the game's won and lost. So no surprise he's targeting some of those kids. It's not just they're tall, though. There's some phenomenal athletes. And I've got a chance to meet a couple of the girls out and about around town. And from everything I've seen so far, personally at least, just some wonderful people, great personalities, real high character kids. Pretty much everything you expect from IU athletes. We spend so much time talking about the basketball and the football programs and all the reputations those guys get for, kind of being big time around campus. What people forget is the other 22 varsity sports here. Most of those kids get to go about town, and other than the gear they're wearing, they kind of do so anonymously. I mean, even Lily King can occasionally pass through pretty crowded places. People don't recognize her because she's not, 6'11" or, just massively bulging biceps and necks. And one thing I will say, 99% of every interaction I've ever had with an IU athlete, no matter what sport they're coming from out and about around town. They're just great kids. They're great neighbors. They're exactly the type of people that you like to see the university bringing into the community. Speaking of which, shout out to my kid's new PE teacher, Evansville's own Lily King. He appears to be having a great time this year over at Benford Elementary, where she's student teaching.
That's amazing. Yeah, we've had Lily on the show before. She is a great ambassador, not only for Indiana University, but she's just a solid citizen, a solid individual, and your son's a lucky guy in a lot of ways.
Well, you know what, though? I mean, he's already, both of my kids have got to work with Tyra Bus through the athletic department's engagement in the community schools. Amanda Cahill, I can rattle off probably a dozen soccer players, baseball players. It's awesome for those guys to be immersed in the community like the department tries to engage them. I think it gives a lot to both people, both the student athletes as well as the elementary and the middle school kids around town. And more than anything, too, it just makes Bloomington that much more awesome of a place to grow up.
I agree with it, man. When's the next episode of Mind Your Banners coming out?
That's a good question. We are probably next going to be dropping the official season preview. We kind of did a break in the ice back, summer's wrapping up. Zach and I kind of had that panic. Oh shoot, it's August already, and we haven't talked in a little bit. I've been on hiatus for a little bit. So just kind of get the dust off of that one. I know we haven't talked about anything this week, but my guess is we're going to bring on Dr. Clavio again and do kind of like we did last year. We'll have a 2-part season preview. This should be dropping probably here in the next couple of weeks. So I got to start studying up on that and figure out when we're doing that, because I know it's something coming. But no, we spent last week. Alex McCarthy was back in town. Shout out, man. He was en route from left Michigan back home to left Alaska back home to Michigan on his way to Virginia. So he swung through for a couple nights. So we got to catch up off the record with him. And yeah, we totally didn't do any planning for the pod. So we're going to get on that here shortly, but we should have a preview coming soon. We're back on SoundCloud, iTunes, Star's got all that. And since the merger, we haven't gotten fired yet, so we're pretty stoked about all that.
That's awesome. Great. I appreciate it, man. And I could not be happier to have Chronic Hoosier back here weekly. It's just amazing to have you. You're one of my favorite guests each and every week. The conversation is always engaging.
Hey, man, now that you're in B-Town, too, looking forward to seeing you at all the ballparks around town, because it's a couple weeks away, and we'll be back out there under the lights.
I'm out and about, man. I appreciate it, Chronic Hoosier. Welcome back. I hope you had a great summer and a great rest of the fall. We're ready for some football, but thanks a lot, man. I always appreciate and love having you on.
Thanks for having me. We'll catch you guys next week.
You bet. That's Chronic Hoosier. We got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We're back right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Hi, this is A.J. Moye, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat as the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios moved north to Bill Armstrong Stadium. Jerry Yeagley Field here is today is opening day, or actually it's an exhibition game for the women's soccer program. They're taking on Northwestern, a team that they don't play during the regular season out of the Big Ten, which is different, I guess. They don't play all conference teams, but also today is semi-media day for the men's soccer program. On the program today, we'll be talking with Erwin Van Bennekom, the coach of the women's soccer team. Also, Coach Todd Yeagley from the men's soccer team will be joining us as well. Looking forward to that. But it is a busy, busy time of year. Yesterday was media day for the Indiana volleyball team, and we got to go out there and talk to all those ladies, I should say. I almost said guys, but ladies, and to coach. But also there is a very unique connection between the Indiana volleyball team program and the men's basketball program. There are so many players on that team that have a connection of either like Sophie Oliphant's father, Jeff, played on that 87 national championship team. Megan Sloan's dad, Brian, was also on that championship team. You've got her dad was also, you may have heard of him, Jerry Sloan, NBA fame. There's one of the players' fathers played on the Fab Five. There's just all kinds of a connection. But talking to Sophie about that yesterday and what that meant to her and with her dad and how he talks to her as far as coming to Indiana. Let's hear what Sophie had to say.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories of him, like Coach Knight and stuff, and just like how hard he worked. But like the result of it and just like being here at IU, it's like that's what like really made me want to come here and just like take part in like what he did too, because his experiences sound so fun.
Sophie Oliphant, daughter of Jeff Oliphant, a member of the 87 National Championship team, one of the members of the Indiana volleyball team. Of course, they are opening up Wilkinson Hall this year. They'll be playing their first match. I forget what the date it is. I'll have to get that. But looking forward to that. That place is going to simply rock, man. I'm telling you that is going to be a program that quickly becomes one of the better programs in the Big Ten with Coach Steve Aird. He is doing a phenomenal job. They barely missed making the tournament last year, but they fully expect to do so this year. But that's a great venue. Also, the wrestling team will be able to have their matches in there. I think they've already had some in there, but the volleyball team's going to kick their appearance off in there this season. Looking forward to that. Earlier, I was talking about we spoke with all three quarterbacks yesterday as Indiana is heading down the line I think by the end of this week, Monday, I think they name a quarterback by Monday. I don't think that they want to go much further than that. And Kalen DeBoer, the offensive coordinator, also we talked with him yesterday as well. Let's hear what he had to say about that quarterback race.
Really good, and you see them all growing, and I am putting them in spots right now. Today's a great example. I put them in so many spots where they had to process, and I'm just pushing them because I know I can always control things with the play calls, but I'm pushing them to see how far, and what they're capable of doing, whether it's checking into something or checking out of something that looks really bad. So that's the key, is just making sure we limit the bad plays. We want to be moving forward, and when we're in favorable down distances, I think we're going to be pretty good. Really good.
Coach Kalen DeBoer, offensive coordinator. They, of course, have not named a quarterback, but everybody has an opinion on it. That's for certain. A lot of the fans, I know they've spoken up. We got a text into the show from Tim. I want a quarterback with an arm to start. The receivers talk like they want to be able to run deep routes. That does not happen with Ramsey. Well, he certainly has improved somewhat, but there's no doubt that the strongest arm on this team belongs to Michael Penix. He has shown that again and again, but that's something we already knew. But I tell you, when you watch him throw that ball, it's not just the deep routes. It's the fact of being able to throw the across the field 15-yard out plays. That's a long, long throw, and there's a big difference in how quickly that ball gets there, and that makes a difference when the defense can converge or not converge. It's all the difference in the world how well that play happens. So it's not just deep routes we're talking about. Having a much stronger arm allows you to do other things. But I'm looking forward to seeing this offense of Kalen DeBoer's. Like it's not like he's completely changing this, but he's just tweaking everything that they're doing. And I think it's going to make it a lot more efficient. The play calling itself, I think, is going to just rise astronomically. Just he everywhere he's gone, he's added 10 to 15 points per game in the very first season. I expect him to do that at Indiana, and if he does that, that's the difference making between Indiana winning 3 more games last season. That means that team that I find was a very mediocre team last year. They were mediocre on both sides of the ball, to be honest with you. But they lost 3 games by a touchdown or less. That would have been an 8-win season. That's crazy. So this team is much more talented. It has better everything. It even has better running backs. It has the receivers are all back and healthy. The quarterback situation, obviously, and the defense is going to be stronger. They're better. They've got experience, and they've got a lot of guys coming in that can help make a difference that they didn't have last year. So I think it's going to be a good time. Look forward in the next hour. We're going to be hearing from a couple of the quarterbacks. We'll hear from Peyton Ramsey. We'll hear from Michael Penix as well. But also on the program today, Erwin Van Bennekom, the women's soccer coach, is going to join us in the next hour. Also, we'll hear from Coach Todd Yeagley as well. As we are here from Bill Armstrong Stadium at Jerry Yeagley Field. An absolutely beautiful day here in Bloomington. What a day for a game. And the women play. If you're in the Bloomington area and listening, come on out. I think the game starts around 11, right as soon as we get off the air. I thought it was 12, to be honest with you, but maybe it's 11. I heard somebody behind me say that, so they got me confused for a second, which is not hard to do. But we got plenty more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat, so don't worry about that. Also, before I forget, the dedication to the Fowl Family Golf Course. IU's new golf course. It's been completely remodeled. It's just a different golf course. I haven't played that thing for so long, but I remember when I was in college and I played, I saw an albino deer, and I'm not kidding. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. This dude was completely Snow White. Amazing. But the dedication to the Fowl Family Golf Course is this Friday at 1:00. So there's all kinds of stuff going on up in Bloomington, man, on the IU campus. So check out some of it. But we've got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios at Bill Armstrong Stadium today. Back with more right after this.
So here I am, city of the stars, movies, women, and cars. Well, I guess I'll stop. Say, hey, 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 what you got to say?
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
This is former Indiana basketball player Greg Graham. Keep up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle with you as always. Jake's at the wheel, keeping things on the track for you as we have moved the golf club at Eagle Point Studios north to Bill Armstrong Stadium today. Jerry Yeagley Field, looking out there on an absolutely beautiful day in Bloomington as the women's soccer team will take on Northwestern in an exhibition today. And we're grateful to be joined by Coach Edwin Bennicomp. Coach, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Good. How are things going?
Yeah, going well. Exciting times. Obviously, best game of the week is game day. So I think we get a real true test of where we are and what we've done so far. Obviously, limited days of training so far, but we're happy to play Northwestern today. Obviously, a national tournament team, one of the better teams in the Big Ten. So we're happy to have them here and see what we have.
And you've already had one exhibition match. You took on Indiana State Sycamores. You beat those guys 3-0. How'd that match work out for you? Did it play out as you thought it would?
Any game we win, we score goals, and we keep a clean sheet. I think we're happy. I think overall we weren't that happy. I think we didn't play great. So I'm looking forward to today and actually get a little bit more knowledge about our players and what we have and where we are. But after that game, we built fitness. We stayed healthy. So, and we saw some things from especially some younger players that we hadn't seen yet in training. So that was good to see.
What are some of the things you're looking for? And obviously, this is the program that you're trying to come in and really revamp and raise up to a higher level as the men's side. And so to do that, you've got to go through roster change and all that stuff. But it also starts with the play on the field. What is it that you're looking for to happen in these matches?
So I think we only have up to now we had 7 training sessions total, or 6 actually, 6.5 maybe.
This is not very many.
No, it's not many. So, but what we've done is put in building blocks, and we like to see those building blocks come back into training. So our transition to defending, from attacking to defending, making sure we're prepared for transition. I think that's a huge piece. And then in possession, our positioning and how we're setting ourselves up for going forward is those 2 things are key for us today.
And I know that you guys have a really easy opener. Some team in North Carolina or something like that.
Yeah. That's after today, I think that's going to be the focus. And the hard part about what our schedule is we got Thursday, Sunday that week. So it's UNCI, USC, and we both take them super important games. And I think for us that Thursday game is just go somewhere. They're opening up the stadium. It's probably going to be 8,000 to 10,000 people, and obviously arguably the best program in women's soccer ever. So we're just happy to go there and see what it's like to play one of the best teams in a great atmosphere and kind of expose our players to that atmosphere and see what happens.
And that talent level, obviously, level you're trying to reach, but is scheduling those kind of matches to get to that point part of the plan of raising this program up?
Yeah. Well, kind of rethought that team. We don't have the best coaching staff, and we don't have the best players in the country, but we can beat the best teams in the country, and we can beat the best coaching staffs in the country. So that's us, and we're going to play one of the best teams, and so that'll be fun.
And how difficult is it to get that mindset into the players to raise them up that, hey, you can be the best, you can compete with the best, and play with the best?
Yeah. Confidence is the hardest thing to build, right? It has to be true. It can't be fake. You can't tell somebody or a team that they're really good and you're not. So it's gradually every day little pieces that we add into confidence. And I think confidence comes from knowledge, comes from work rate, comes from knowing what we do as a team. And that's what it's all about. And I think players knowing from each other what they're good at and what they're not good at. So I think slowly, hopefully this game aids into that. The next couple sessions will aid into that, and then we'll prepare it as much as we can next Thursday.
Some changes going on at Bill Armstrong Stadium. A new service is already down and playable now, and it looks beautiful out there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's supposed to also help. But how does that help from having just little things like that?
Yeah, this is amazing. We played on it the other day, and what our grounds crew and Jeremy Treadway especially has done with this field, it's amazing. I remember watching the games back from last year on TV, and now seeing this field. That's probably arguably one of the best fields in the country. We're super excited. And
then of course the seats that we're looking at across the way there, locker rooms that are underneath are going to be gone in about a month, and you guys are. But when you come back next year, you're going to have all new home to live into.
It's going to be unbelievable. We're so excited, and what the university has done and with Todd and the men's program and what the work they've put in fundraising and getting things sorted to get this ready, it's amazing. And obviously we're very lucky to be part of that. And, it's needed, obviously. But it'd be great to see the process over the next couple months to see that building go up.
And talk about building a program. How important is that to have, you could say we have the nicest playing service in the country. We have these brand new, beautiful locker rooms. I know that's important to kids that they're coming up, but it really helps sell the program.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I'm used to things going hand in hand. You get better and you get more stuff. So it's not like, this is probably going to be ahead of where the program is. But it helps in recruiting and especially compared to some other programs in the country and programs that we're competing against. Everybody has nice facilities. Everybody has, treating student athletes the right way with the right facilities and especially with the schedule they have is kind of a must. So I think this is necessary, but it's something special.
Who has been some of the players that have stepped up this year that maybe you didn't expect?
I think we kind of some of the freshmen you never know. So I think our freshman class, Jamie Tottelben the other day, she had a really good game against Indiana State and hadn't really shown in training her full abilities. And then in the game, we were like, oh, okay, we found something there. And maybe because it was open field, a little bit more space, we hadn't seen that in training. And then some of Elena Kalin, Avery Lockwood, Bria Talamaki, I think they all showed that they're able to play at this level right away. So we're excited about that.
How important are these exhibition matches so you can because in practice, that changes the mental mindset of a lot of players. You don't always see the same thing. So who's trying to beat you?
Yeah.
But how much can you pull from that for your regular season starting?
Yeah, I think so much more than training because everybody talks about we're going to train how we want to play. Like you just said, it doesn't happen that way. It is always a different mindset, a different nervousness when you go into a game. So playing somebody else is great. Playing an opponent in Northwestern, that's an opponent that we're going to see consistently throughout the year, or a similar kind of opponent. So I think today is a perfect test for us.
You're from the Netherlands, and of course, we saw the Netherlands have a great run on the women's soccer on the world stage that they had. Also, the women's team obviously won that. How does that help in recruiting and getting more girls involved in soccer and all that when the USA's team does so well?
Yeah, I think they've done well for the last 20 years. So I think that influence. I think the game itself, it helps. So anytime something is on primetime TV and you see it, I think the younger girls are going to play the sport and they're going to get excited and find role models. How it directly influences us, maybe in 15 years, or maybe in a little bit less time, but not right now. I think it doesn't really influence us yet. But.
And the last time we spoke, you said something that really stuck with me that I really hadn't thought about before. But the women in the USA are so much further ahead of women in soccer around the world, which in the men's side it's completely reversed. Yeah. But it's a very unique thing in the U.S. So does that make recruiting a lot easier, or how does that work?
Yeah, but we're also recruiting against the 340 other programs or Division I programs only, and there's another 1,500 programs. So yes, the pool of players is huge, but it's not just us. So it helps. The more players, the better. I think every coach is looking for different types of players, but a lot of the programs are going after the same kind of players. So.
Right. And in Indiana, how's Indiana as far as supplying talent? Is this an area, or do you have to go outside and go everywhere? Obviously, great players come from all over the place. We know that.
Yeah, there's really good players in Indiana, and there's some really good players that came through over the last 10, 15 years. Obviously, Lauren Cheney and Sarah Killian and players like that. But yeah, it's we obviously have one big city, and we're mid-level big city. We don't have New York City. We don't have LA. We don't have Dallas. So it's like it's not the supply that maybe some universities close to big cities have. But there's a lot of good players in the Midwest. There's a lot of good players in Indiana, and we'd like to keep them here.
And piggybacking off of the men's program and have success, obviously, with 8 national championships, and as you look to raise that up, how can you piggyback off of them to show the success can be achieved here in Indiana?
Yeah, I think Todd and I we talk a lot and just see what they have done, and even with Coach Yeagley, just seeing how that culture has built over the years and how recruiting kind of works. And guys and women are completely different, right? It's very easy to say, the guys have won 8 national championships, must be possible on the girls' side. It's a completely different landscape, right? There's a perennial powers in women's soccer, and they have not really changed over the years. In men's soccer, you see every other year. There's some, a couple of years ago, it was UMBC coming into the mix. And so I think there's a little bit more ability for that next tier teams coming through in the men's side because of international players, because of pro, the players that come for 1 year and leave. So I think there's a little bit more flexibility. So we're just trying to work our way up slowly and be a stable top 50 team, become a top 25 team, and then go from there, because we can't have little peaks and do well 1 year and then go down again. We want to slowly get better and better every year, and then hopefully we'll be in the same ranks as where they are.
And you talk about opening season against the top program in women's soccer. And then, of course, you play in the Big Ten, which is never easy in any way either. Right. So what are you expecting from this season? How can you guys grow?
I think it's, we're obviously focusing on results. It's all about winning and losing. But I think the little things that we do in training and the little things we want to do as a team, I think that's what's going to be a main focus, and not so much looking at purely the result, but actually analyzing like what are we doing in games, how can we get better, and just little improvements every game and little steps. And obviously, sometimes you need a little result go your way to get the confidence, and that's what it's all about. But we're in the business of winning games, and that's where we game to game we're trying to win the next game. That's it.
What are your expectations for this season as a whole?
Win the next game. Yeah, that's it. It's too hard. We've done it in the past, or I've been with teams in the past who say, okay, we're going to win the national championships, and then you lose one or two of the first two games, and you probably can be a 1 seed, and it's almost impossible to not to win a national championship if you're not a top seed. So it's I think small term goals for us is going to be today it's beat Northwestern, the next game is beat Carolina. That's what it's about, and so I don't want to put Big Ten that we want to make the top 8. This program hasn't made a lot of top 8s in the history and haven't made national tournaments. So we talked to our team, and we're going to stay humble whatever happens. We're going to fight hard. We're going to build confidence and see what we can do.
And you take on Northwestern today, a fellow Big Ten team that you don't play during the regular season, right. But being a conference team, obviously it's a formidable opponent. Yeah. You should be able to see a lot from this match today.
Oh, 100%. And great coaching staff, a really good team. Like I said, they've been in the probably top 5 of the Big Ten now for a couple of years. Been in the NCAA tournament. Got to obviously unfortunately lost in the first round last year, but they're a really good team, really well coached team. So I think this is really the perfect opponent for us to prepare for the season ahead.
Coach Benacom, best of luck, man. I appreciate you as always joining us. We'll look forward to doing it again sometime.
Thank you for being here.
Good luck. We'll see you all this season.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin, as well. That's it into the sports meet. We got a lot more coming up here from Bill Armstrong Stadium at Jerry Yeagley Field. It's a media day for the men's side, but the women are taking on Northwestern as the Wildcats are coming out on the field right now. But we got a lot more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat. Stay tuned. We're back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moyer.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell Time, shouting, "Go Hooters!" Like the other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9092.
This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, coming to you from Armstrong Stadium, Bill Armstrong Stadium, on the campus of Indiana University. Looking out upon Jerry Eagley Field. Today, the women's soccer program taking on the Northwestern Wildcats, a fellow Big Ten opponent, in an exhibition match. They don't play Northwestern this year on the regular season, so they've scheduled an exhibition to follow up on the 3-0 win over the Indiana State Sycamores from last week before the Hoosiers will open up the season. As you heard us earlier talking with Coach Bennicom, they travel down to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, to take on the top program in the women's soccer, the North Carolina Tar Heels. But today it's against the Northwestern Wildcats. The men's program also getting their first practice in today. Coach Todd Yeagley in that program over there. I can see them across the way as well. Look forward to having Coach Yeagley on with us here in a little bit. But we just finished up with Coach Bennicom, so grateful to have him joining us, so we appreciate that. As always, lots going on, of course, on the football side of things as well, as Indiana trying to determine who their starting quarterback is going to be. We had the opportunity to meet with all three of them yesterday, but spoke with Peyton Ramsey as well, talked about how things going for him, what he thought things looked like, how he's felt as far as his play and all that. And as you can expect, he feels pretty good. But let's hear from his own mouth.
Good. Continuing to progress every single day. I think I've been consistent, stacking good days on top of good days, and having a 1-0 mindset like Coach DeBoer talks about, whether it be a new play or a new practice, just approaching it like I'm going to go dominate the next play, and not worrying about anything else. So far I've been good. I've been consistent, and I'm happy with where I'm at.
Peyton Ramsey, of course, the incumbent starter of last year, and he's looked pretty good. I'm not going to lie, throughout practice. He's looked solid. He's looked Peyton Ramsey-esque. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but then you have Michael Penix, and Michael Penix is still going through the process of learning that position as far as being a Division I quarterback. But when I say that, it's not like he's too far off. He's not. And Michael Penix has an arm that can throw it from here to Indianapolis. He has got an absolute cannon, but it's not just that. He's pretty accurate with it, and it's an absolute beautiful ball. And that's a segment of the game that Indiana did not possess last year, and it cost them. We talked about those games they lost by a touchdown or less. That was multiple times where Indiana reached the red zone, and instead of scoring a touchdown, they would get a field goal. So that's another key issue that this offense has to get fixed this year. But we had the opportunity to talk to Michael Penix yesterday as well. Let's see what Michael had to say.
I'm going real good. I've been real consistent. just helping lead the team, make sure we're always in good situations. Don't make a bad situation worse. Every single day I'm just working my tail off to make sure that everyone is on the same page and that we stay consistent.
Michael Penix also trying to become Indiana's starting quarterback. You've got Jack Tuttle. We talked to him, but this is down to a two-man race. In my mind, it is. There's no doubt. And as a matter of fact, I should have cut this clip out to play, but Coach Kalen DeBoer, when we were talking with him yesterday and we were talking about the quarterback race, one of the things that there was a scrimmage that occurred on Sunday, and Coach Allen calls those preseason game one. They will have another one on Saturday. But anyway, in that scrimmage, Coach DeBoer kept talking about they both played well.
And I was talking to Tom Brew last night about this, and I said, yeah, that wasn't lost on me. I think that maybe that was just a Freudian slip, but to me, it is also apparent that this is a two-man race. This is down between Peyton Ramsey and Michael Penix, and it's Michael Penix's job to unseat Peyton Ramsey. Peyton Ramsey just has to continue doing what he's doing. He's the champion. You got to dethrone the champion. You can't tie him. You've got to beat him. And so that's what they're waiting on. I think I think that's exactly what they're waiting on. They're waiting for Michael Penix to take that step up in full in practice and assume leadership of that offense. And I think he is just right there, and there's no doubt that he has the talent. He has the physical capabilities because, as I said, he can throw that ball from here to Indianapolis, and it's an absolute beautiful ball. But it gives Indiana and that offense a dynamic they just don't have without him or someone like him. So it's critical that they have that if they want to really take that next step. I mean, can they win games? Of course. Peyton Ramsey's won games for Indiana over the last 2 years. Not enough. They've won 10 games total over the last 2 seasons, missing bowl eligibility both times by a game, finishing 5-7. To take that next step, they've got to have that guy that can do the things they haven't been able to do. And, of course, part of that is getting downfield. You can hear a lot of background noise. Here's I'm coming to you from Bill Armstrong Stadium, and we're up to the press box, and we're getting ready for game day here. So there's a lot going on. Northwestern's out on the field. It's an unbelievably beautiful day here in Bloomington, so perfect day for a game, but looking forward to that. But we'll be back at football again. Let's see. We'll hear from Tom Allen on Thursday, and then practice again on Friday. And don't forget, Friday, I believe, is the Bierman Benefit Golf Tournament or Golf Scramble down at Valley View Golf Course in Floyd's Knobs, Indiana. So don't forget about that. If you haven't signed up or want to play, pull that up. You can pull Shannon Bierman up on social media and get that taken care of. But that's something fun we're looking forward to and participating in and helping out with those guys. But, man, what a beautiful day. There's not a lot of basketball news. I know everybody likes to hear about basketball news. There's just not right now. Recruiting is kind of not on hold, but in a holding pattern, waiting for someone who's that next person to commit. Indiana has 2 open scholarships remaining. The guy that to me is most likely to commit would be to fill one of those spots would be the Matt Cross out of Connecticut, but he has taken his recruitment picked up a little bit since his IU offer. I think he went to visit Miami, and I think Florida. Florida's done an unbelievable job recruiting and getting guys in. So it's not going to be easy, but I think he is still the most likely third candidate to fill one of those scholarship roles. When you talk about that fourth one, I really don't know. I don't know that they will fill it. I think that sometimes I think that they may hold that until next year because that 2021 class is just absolutely crazy. I keep vacillating back and forth whether or not are going to have 3 or 4 scholarship opportunities for that 2021 class. The last I checked, I think they will have 3, but it's possible that they have 4. Then you've got the situation of Jerome Hunter, whether or not he's going to play, and the fact that we haven't heard a single thing. We're not that far away from the basketball season starting. I mean, as far as practice and all that. So we're getting closer and closer. It's going to be a very, very interesting subplot, whether or not he's going to be able to come back and play, because that could be a huge difference to Archie Mona's program. Don't forget, he was the second highest recruit brought in that class that had Romeo Langford. He's a very talented kid. I saw him play in high school. Great athlete, great size. He has a lot of capabilities, and he's someone that can definitely help Archie Miller and that team out. But if he can't play, you can't help out. But that's sad. That would be totally sad for that kid to see that happen. And of course, he's been dealing with a leg issue that basically is not muscular or anything. It's not from an injury. It's just a condition that somehow he developed, and hopefully they're able to get that taken care of. I know he's gone on to specialist and been trying to deal with it in every way possible, but hopefully we can see him get to that. But text into the show from Tim. Do you start a quarterback that knows all the plays but is less skilled, or do you start a well-skilled quarterback with an arm but still has some learning to do on the playbook? That's a great question, and that's exactly the question that they're looking at. That is the exact question. You've got a guy in Peyton Ramsey who knows the plays back and forth, who's not going to make a lot of mistakes, but he can't make the throws, all the throws that need to be made. I mean, that's just the undisputed truth about that. He's gotten better. I think he's shown that in the spring game. He had I think it was a 38, 40-yard touchdown pass to Ty Freifogel. And so he's shown he can do it, but I don't think he is to the point where he can do it on a consistent basis. Michael Penix can, but he doesn't have quite the experience that Peyton Ramsey does, obviously. And the coaches talk about it's going to come down to whether or not who can lead that team. Who does that team feel comfortable under center? Well, I'll tell you, whoever, they just want to win. That's what they care about. And I think they will be comfortable with either Ramsey or Penix. And I think Penix will be the guy that ends up getting the job. He's just too talented. And we've seen for 2 years Indiana just being just short. And to not be just short anymore, you have to change something. That's either get way better or make the change. I think the change is going to be made, and I think that's going to happen. In my opinion, I think they name this quarterback on Monday. I think they want to know, because what is today's date? The 15th, 14th? So 15, 16, 17, be like Monday's what, the 19th or thereabouts, quickly in my head. Kickoff for the season August 31st up in Lucas Oil Stadium. So they still have some time, so it's not like it has to be Monday. It's not a deadline that they've set. I'm just saying I think that they want to name this guy as soon as possible, because the sooner the quarterback is named, that guy gets to start taking all the number one reps with the number one offense, which is not the case right now. Right now, you've got Peyton Ramsey taking those reps, and you've got Michael Penix taking the number 2 reps, and Jack Tuttle taking the 3 reps. Well, if let's say the Penix is going to end up being the starting quarterback, you want him working with the number one offense. You want him having that familiarity and that comfort, and you want them having that same thing with him, whether it's receivers or whether it's linemen and cadence and calls. There's all kinds of things that go into it, but you don't want to go in to game week not knowing who your starter is, and they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They're going to name the guy at least. I think the very least would be the Monday before, so that would be another week from Monday. But I think that they would like to do it sooner rather than later. When they're actually going to do that, that's a mystery, because you heard us talking to Kalen DeBoer yesterday. I don't have an answer yet. Haven't made a decision yet. Every press conference that comes up, we talk to Coach Allen. We haven't made a decision yet. We don't know yet. The guys are still fighting. So for some people don't believe that this is actually a quarterback race. Trust me, it is. I mean, a lot of people I know want to see Michael Penix in there based on what's happened the last couple of years. And to be truthful, you can only hang some of that on Peyton Ramsey. You have to also understand he had an offensive coordinator who was not exactly the most creative when it came to play calling. We had a lot of complaints about that. A lot of people were really, and obviously there was a change made. I just talked about it, taking that next step. You either have to get better or make change. Well, IU made a change. There's a different offensive coordinator. There's a new sheriff in town, Kalen DeBoer, a younger guy who has infused programs wherever he's gone. Every program he's gone to in the first season, he's added 10 to 15 points per game. You give that to Indiana, and this team is going to win 8 games, no doubt. If you increase Indiana's output by 10 to 15 points a game, they're an 8-9 win team. As crazy as that sounds, and I know it sounds crazy because that is not the history of Indiana football. That's not the legacy that they have lived here in the last several years, and ever for the most part. But it is a possibility. There's a lot of talk about Indiana in the past of trying to overcome just decades and decades of poor football, and a lot of it tied back to they used to they used to give away home games to get paid on the road, and but you know what? All that stuff that happened 50 years ago to me is irrelevant. Look at a team like Northwestern.
Northwestern was as bad as there was. They were the worst team in Division I football, but they turned it around. They went to the Rose Bowl. Gary Barnett really changed things up there, and that can be done anywhere. And that's doing it at a school that has to recruit guys that are smarter than the average Bear. They can't just recruit anybody. So if it can be done there, it can be done anywhere, and it can be done here. And ironically, Tom Allen is the probably most least likely guy to have done it. If you look back at all the names that have taken that shot and tried to do that, Cam Cameron, Jerry DiNardo, Sam White was here. But the least likely is Tom Allen. But I got to tell you, he's looking like the most likely at this point. He's bringing in the recruiting classes that have the likes that Indiana's never seen. He is doing it seemingly the right way, really building it from the ground up. He has increased the depth on this program, increased the talent on this program. They just opened up their new locker rooms. If you didn't see that on social media yesterday, wow, that looked pretty good. They didn't have the sleep chambers like LSU, which is nuts. But what a beautiful locker room, man. Looking forward to seeing that. We've seen a lot of change in locker rooms here on the IU campus here of late. The basketball program last year, the Zeller Oladipo Legacy Lounge and all of that. But looking forward to seeing that big football locker room. I saw it on social media, and it looked pretty daggone cool. And you know that the players like that. And you know that's going to help the recruiting. So that's only going to further do things for recruiting. Another text into the show, any word on Deontay Craig commitment? Great question. No. As a matter of fact, that's something we need to check on today, but that's something we expect to hear any day, to be honest with you. A commitment that has come down between Indiana and Iowa, and I think part of the reason we haven't heard is he's having a tough time making that decision. Iowa, obviously, a very, very good program. They win year in, year out, but they haven't it's not like they've been Ohio State or Michigan-esque here of late, but still great, great program, and you're gonna do well by going there, but I think that Deontay Craig sees what's going on in Indiana. He's exactly what I was just talking about. He sees exactly what Tom Allen is doing. He sees the new locker rooms, the commitment to football, the increase in just everything, the stadium, all that. There's a lot going on, and this is the time for Indiana to do it. And if they're going to do it, it is now. And I'm not saying this is Rose Bowl break or bust kind of a thing. Just win, get to a bowl game, and improve. And I fully expect that to happen this year. Completely. I expect to see Indiana in a bowl game. I'm saying it now. And if they don't, I'll say I was wrong, but I'm also that also will be a highly, highly disappointing season. Coach Allen has talked about it being very disappointing. They haven't done it the last 2 years, not making a bowl game, how disappointing that was. And it is, and it's crucial. So there's no doubt to me they will make a bowl game this year. Now, you also forget the Big Ten is at a disadvantage. People forget the Big Ten teams in the Big Ten have to play 9 conference games. And if you think that doesn't matter, you're nuts. The SEC, those guys play 8. That means they get to go out and play 4 non-conference games. That's basically 4 wins. That means you're 2 wins away from a bowl game every year. Every year, if you only had to win 2. If Indiana only had to win 2 conference games every year, they'd be in the bowl game about every year. So that's that. But we got a lot coming up here we're at Armstrong Stadium, Jerry Yeagley Field on the campus of Indiana University. As the women's soccer team will be taking on the Northwestern Wildcats today in an exhibition match. Both teams are out on the field right now going through warm-ups and practicing. It's an absolutely gorgeous day in Bloomington. Also, the men's soccer team having their first practice of the season. Coach Todd Yeagley, we're hopeful to get him up here in the next segment. That's he's got a long way to go, but hopefully we can get him over here soon. But we've got plenty more coming up. Stay tuned here on Indiana Sports Beat. We're back at Bill Armstrong Stadium. We've moved the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios north. Back right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, Located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway, Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moyer.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lord, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day, or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Hi, this is A.J. Moyer, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point's mobile studios, which we've moved to Bill Armstrong Stadium, Jerry Yeagley Field, and sitting right next to Coach Todd Yeagley of the men's program. Coach Yeagley, thank you so much for joining us as always.
Thanks for having me.
Opening practice day, always excitement, I guess, for you, but also it's a serious deal. You know, you got a short amount of time. Talking to Coach Bennicom, they've only had like 6 or 7 practices leading up to the matches they've got right now. So every day is critical, I know, for you guys.
It is, and you know, I think with a young team and a new team with 14 new pieces to the equation, our preseason will look different than last year, and the challenge as coaches is how much we can give them in digestible amounts so that we can see if it's translated into our sessions, into the big games. Otherwise, it's going to be too much. We're not going to quite know, where they are. So that's a challenge as coaches. I think from a team standpoint, it was a good first session. They're always going to be, overly ramped, excited. You wouldn't want it any other way, but that's also where it's a hard eval that first session to see some things. We gave them, we gave a little less conditions today. Kind of wanted to see some tendencies on what guys like to do. So we got into, some 8v8, and we're able to see them kind of in somewhat shape and roles that they feel comfortable in, but not control where they go and not control touches today. And let them see and let us see kind of where what their tendencies are, and then we can start tweaking from there.
When you have 14 guys, is that a normal number for you to have? I mean, what's a normal class size, new class size?
Yeah, that's a big number. And obviously, you go and you plan out, but things happen. And, things happen where you lose a player to the pros. And always that's a good problem. Certainly when it's the right time for both them and most importantly with their future. And so this was a class that was somewhat out of the reaction, if you will, to all of those pieces. And again, we saw it coming, so we were able to find some answers and some players. But yeah, in a normal cycle, you'd prefer to have a little bit more balanced. A class 6 to 9, and then you might have a year. But yeah, this is a high number.
Well, for those of you to follow on social media, there's been just a litany of guys we've seen in the pros that are doing very well, of course. But when you see that, that, wow, they had to leave the team. So that means there's been a lot of attrition. But
and a lot of those guys are fifth-year guys too. So even in your cycle, some of those players that are playing pro. I mean, some of them were fifth year. Or Corey's case, he was injured, but he's a pro level player. And those guys would have been part of another class. So there would have been a little bit more players in last year's class if they would have been in their natural cycle. But that's what we needed to do for them in the program. And so yeah, we'll start evening this out as the years go on.
Obviously, the roster overhaul is something that you have to do each year, but this year in goal is going to be a change. So you've had a familiar face in there for the last couple of seasons. This is going to be a different season now.
It is, and I mean, this is a great example of you're cheering for all your guys and ones that certainly put in a lot of work, and they know nothing's guaranteed to them. Competition is premium here, and yet Sean Caulfield has been as good as of a support backup goalkeeper, but very capable starter for a few years. And when Trey came in, it was a dogfight in the preseason. We just felt that Trey had a few more skill sets at that time for that team that could help, and we went with him. And we didn't lose a game until the final. So you're not going to make a change, certainly, and he was doing well too. So Sean has been fantastic, and obviously with Trey leaving, it was a door open for him. One out, one in, and Sean knows he's got to come every day. And he needs the guys behind him to push, and I think we got a good core. But, yeah, it is a different voice, different strengths. I do think for this particular team, Sean's leadership and attention to detail and overall personality will help this group grow as quick as any goalkeeper that would have been in the core. Trey was a good communicator, a good organizer, but that's Sean's big strength. And so for this group, I think Sean really, his skill sets really help our team get as best ready as we can.
And we talked about adding those 14 guys that you talked about. Indiana is a team that always has a target on its back. Wherever it goes, it's Indiana's coming to town. So you're the team that they want to beat. You've got to get these guys ready for that. So having that large class and knowing that you always have that target on your back, that's going to make it a little more anxious to get the season going.
It is. We told them last night. I told the guys that you do the schedule and we go through it, and we talked about a few things in the schedule. And I said, more often, guys, if you go around the other locker rooms in the country, that if the other teams are going to circle a game they want the most, or they're looking forward to, or they feel it's a must opportunity, your name's going to be circled. And I go, we're not circling anyone. We respect every opponent, but we go after every game because we know we're getting everyone's best. So we can't pick and choose maybe when we're going to find another gear, maybe like other teams who might have a schedule that allows them to kind of either rotate some players or pick a moment to find another gear. We can't do that. So that's an important thing. And, again, we respect all our opponents, and we've got a tough schedule as always. But every game, it's the next one. And that's a good thing for us when you have that inherent pressure within your group to make sure they're ready.
What are some of your schedule highlights this year? I mean, circling one, but there's got to be some that you've seen as that's.
Oh, certainly.
Kind of
certainly. I mean, some of our traditional kind of regional rivals or national rivals with UCLA. No doubt that Sunday night game is going to be hopping. That's a premier match. for us, the classic. Pitt is a surging program in the ACC. Jay Vidovich is an excellent coach. They're going to be very talented and very skillful. Be a really tough matchup to get out of the gate. And then you get into, a Notre Dame at home. I mean, we obviously saw what last year's game was in the Elite Eight. What a great match in so many ways, atmosphere and on the field. And it's been a great in-state rivalry with them. And then you throw your Butlers, and then you throw in a team from out of the region, a Denver up at South Bend, who's been in the top 20 quite a bit, and a really tough team and super disciplined. That'll be a great test for a young team to see how we handle that. A talented Seattle team. I mean, you can keep going on. A Butler's always a fun game with being an in-state game. A lot of the guys will know each other, and you get in the Big Ten, and Maryland's always been the game that typically has been one of the more unique ones in our conference. But I mean, the games of Michigan State and Wisconsin. I mean, every game is so uniquely challenging that it's just maybe it's a home game that you're like, okay, that's going to be maybe an interesting one, or going on the road to Maryland. We know they might get the biggest crowd of the year when we come, but we love that.
And you talk about Maryland, Indiana, and Maryland, or Maryland and Indiana, 1-2 in the opening rankings coming out. The Big Ten, always tough. But, man, is it getting just tougher every year?
It's flatter. It's a nice reflection of last year. I can't speak for Maryland, and I know they lost some pieces too, but to put us at 2 with one starter returning is flattering. Yet that's the rearview mirror in context. And for us, do I feel like we can be up there? Yes, I do. I always take that feeling every year. But this team might take a little more time to get to that point where we're a top 5 team in our performance and all the things that we can bring. So. It really doesn't matter. When we said to the team, it's flattering. I think it's a pat in the back to the program. Every alum should wake up and see the ranking and go, that feels good, because they're as much a part of that as last year's team, and certainly the least important is really this year's team with regards to a preseason schedule, because they've not done anything. So.
We're looking out at Jerry Yeagley Field, and there's going to be we're kind of in the midst of a lot of reconstruction that's going to go on. But right now, the field surface is completely replaced and new out there. How has that been?
It's been great. I mean, we've been working on this for a while. And I say that, preparing and talking about how to update, a field that has so much historic meaning to college soccer and really soccer in this country. And it was dated. It was one that, we hadn't had a major renovation to it since it was built, meaning the substructure. The turf had been changed through the years, and Brent did a really nice job of cycling those in and making the surface. But, at some point that underbelly is worn out. And, you build a field in 81, they put drainage 30 inches below the surface, and today you do it 15. So it's like anything. You don't operate the same way in medicine. You don't prescribe the same way. So it needed a major upgrade, and then obviously being able to use the technology of new Bermuda strain, and let Jeremy, who's phenomenal in this industry and has such passion for grass, loves the fact we want grass. And so with his team and the support of the administration financially to get this done, and the gift from Kreider, for us to have, what it looks like today is phenomenal, but this thing is only going to keep getting better. And our ability to handle the rain that we'd have in certain games, and having any delays or playing with sand and water just is a thing of the past. So we're really excited.
And new locker rooms are going to be, they're going to tear the
that's the next phase. Yeah, we're just talking about the field. I mean, this is the piece that's done. Then the big kind of functional piece, if you will, is next, and that will be starting this fall, and we should be in that next July, and that will be, I kind of referenced to kind of the cook hall for IU soccer. It's going to have both men and women's soccer and house our locker rooms. We'll move completely out of assembly hall. We'll be in one spot, so all of our athletes, there'll be spaces for them to study. There'll be places for them to relax. There'll be a little indoor training space. Our offices will be there. So the continuity of the whole setup, and it's going to be a visually great upgrade to our facility. So I can't wait to get into that.
And already this is the premier pro college soccer program in the country. But when you add all that stuff, I mean, it just raises it to another level if it's even possible.
It does. And I think Fred and our senior staff, always made it clear that, IU soccer is a premier program. And, with the field having some issues, with our stadium not having a major renovation, and it's not because of, team A, B, and C have a new one. To me, I don't think facilities are going to win you a game, but it also allows you to function better, allows your players to have a place they feel good, and allows them to have all the support they need. And that, to me, reflects why they said it's time to make a major upgrade to our facility, and one that I think we all can be extra proud about. And that's important too.
I know you're busy today, all big practice, and one other thing I want to ask you about, because I know it's very important to you. The documentary of your dad, Jerry Yeagley, is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I think the end of this month, hopefully, or sometime this month. Is that on schedule happening?
It is, yeah. Will happen during Labor Day weekend. Worth the wait, and it's going to be a phenomenal piece that Blue Line, in particular Tucker, has done a tremendous job. I've only seen the trailer, and I watched that over and over and over, and I get so excited. I haven't seen a bit of the movie yet. I might see a little bit before the premiere, but it's going to be it's going to encompass our program, but the story will focus on the trials and tribulations that it took to become varsity, and then moving into how we won our first championship in 1982.
Yeah, I saw the trailer.
Yeah.
And I was at Blue Line one day, and I saw the stacks and stacks of books they're going through, of pictures, and every single thing that they were scanning in. It was like thousands and thousands of these scans that they had to do. Yeah. Lots.
It's become a labor of love for Tucker and his staff at Blue Line, no doubt. I mean, the amount of energy and time, they're sharp, they're good at what they do, but this is a labor of love that they have. You can see that in so many ways, and in different ways in our program. I mean, people kept saying, "Man, your videos after your games, before your game, how well done are those?" And Patrick, he does a lot of our video, and he's really good at what he does, but he cares. And it means a lot to him to help Indiana soccer. And I think Tucker, being from the Bloomington area and going to games as a kid, going to camp, he's got IU soccer, up here on a pedestal, saying this is a special thing. We got to do this really, really well.
Coach, can't thank you enough. I appreciate you taking the time to come over today. Good luck for the season. We look forward to covering you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Coach Todd Yeagley joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat. We got plenty more coming up. That's going to take care of us for the day. We appreciate you joining us, and we're going to watch the women take on the Northwestern Wildcats, as hopefully they'll pull out a win today. But 2 minutes left. But, it was great. We also had Coach Bennicom with us today, so that was a joy for us to have him on as well. We also talked to the football players, both Michael Penix and Peyton Ramsey. We heard from Kalen DeBoer, so we had a lot going on here today from the campus of Indiana University here at Bill Armstrong Stadium. And an absolutely beautiful day. As you hear me getting a little quiet, because I'm actually in the press box. We're about to start the game, so I'm getting a little quiet because we get a lot going on behind me. So when you go live, you got a lot of stuff you got to deal with. But man, awesome to have Coach Bennicom and Coach Yeagley joining us live here on the program today. That was an awesome deal to do. And again, we've got a lot more football to get to, and hopefully some basketball news as we await the naming of that next head coach and who's going to be those final two spots on the scholarship side. Who's going to take those final two positions to add to the two that they already have, and Trey Galloway and Anthony Leal. Will it be more Indiana kids, or it doesn't matter? But who is it going to be is the big question. But things are about to get underway here at Indiana. Bill Armstrong Stadium. The women are taking on the Northwestern Wildcats. Feel free to come out and check out the game. It's an exhibition match, but we got more coming up tomorrow. Matt Weaver will be back with us. We moved him tomorrow because of getting the coaches on today, so we look forward to doing that. But for Jake, this is Jim Coyle. We appreciate you joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat, and I will see you on the radio.